Hi everyone, welcome back to another Driftcarsjp video. Today I've got myself some big brakes. I've managed to score a pair of these, which they're Compbrake. They're not actually AP Racing. I don't know why they put the AP Racing logo on them, but I managed to pick up a set of these for 850 bucks. I was second hand, but they're virtually like brand new off Facebook. I know some of you guys probably seen them out for sale. The guy was pretty good. He put them up for 900 bucks and got them for 850. This is a kit that fits your Fn2 without actually replacing the discs or changing anything like that. Comes with all the brackets and everything like that. And what I'm going to do is I've already fitted this one up just so I know how it all goes on, but we'll do the other side. What I'll do is I'll show you how to fit them on this side. What we'll do, we'll weigh the calipers, we'll weigh the Honda calipers. I'll measure and I'll give you sizes on how much clearance you're going to need. These wheels don't fit anymore because the calipers are too big. I thought these would have fit, being these are an 18 by 8 and they're a 40 offset, and I thought they would have actually cleared, but they don't. So we've got everything here. This is all the hardware for it. So it comes with your alloy bracket. I've got it sitting with all the bolts and everything on the scales here. Just get that to balance. They're about 2 kilos. You can just sort of see on there, they're just on about 2 kilos. So we'll weigh the factory Honda ones, and yeah, we'll compare them. I'm not going to probably drive them today. I'll do another video later on where I sort of compare how good they are compared to the factory brakes, because I find the factory brakes a little bit vague. The track day I did recently, they were good, they held up, but I just find they just got a bit of a vague pedal feel and don't give me a whole lot of confidence in the braking with the factory calipers. So we'll get this wheel off, and then we'll get this caliper off, and we'll have a look from there. Okay, so now we've got the wheel off. It's pretty straightforward. You don't need a whole heap of tools to do this. 14mm spanner just to undo your brake line on the back. What you need to do is just turn your steering hub as far out that way as you can. Make sure you have a little container underneath just to catch the brake fluid that's going to dribble out. So what I do is just crack it first, let it sit there, and then we'll get a 17mm, and we'll just whip off the two lower. You don't need to take the actual caliper off from the slide part, just take it off from the back. So you've got your two 17mm at the back. Okay, so we've got that off. Now you can just wiggle your caliper off. It's probably a good time just to undo the brake line. Now, crappy part with this is going to drip everywhere, so just undo that. And always goes on the floor. Now this has only just had the brake fluid just done on it recently, but after a track day, when I actually tip the caliper on its side, you'd be surprised how dirty the fluid already is just from one track day. So whip this off. I'll just grab the camera and see if you can see when I drip it in. I trust that one to be clean. The other one was quite dirty, but makes a liar out of me. Now what you need to do, you need to remove your disc. So you need to take the two screws out. I might have to get an impact driver onto this. Yep, both tight as. I'll just grab the impact. Okay, finally got them out. Just one side. The other side they're just undid easy as, and this side they're not. So undo them, because this bracket for the caliper actually bolts through this side of your disc. So that's the reason why you got to just take the disc off. Obviously take your hub ring off. Okay, disc off. Now the reason I sort of went for this kit, now I can't find where my, you love it, your hub ring falls off and just rolls off into the nevers under the car somewhere. The reason I liked about this kit is that it retains a factory disc. A lot of all the other kits that come out there, like if you upgrade to DC5 Brembos and put a set of S2000 discs on, the discs actually aren't hub centric to the actual hubs. So either you've got to get a spacer made up or just run without them, which I know a lot of cars do. A lot of cars do run without. Like a lot of race cars all have a floating disc setup where the hub, it actually mounts off the actual wheel studs, not the hub. For an everyday car, I don't really like that, because You know, we don't want things banging and clicking and knocking while we're driving on the street. On a track car, it's a little bit different. You don't sort of care if it's just a pure race car, but when it's an everyday car, you want it sort of be a bit more comfortable. So we'll compare the weight of the calipers. I didn't actually put the brake pads before, so we'll put the brake pads on, and it brings it up to around about just on 2.5 kilos. So while we're doing it all at the same time, we'll weigh the factory caliper with the bolts. So there's the 2 rear caliper bolts. We'll set this the factory caliper on. So we're looking a lot closer to 5 kilos. So we pretty much say I'd say give it 2 kilos. Obviously these scales aren't the most accurate scales, but with pads, hardware and bolts, like I said, it's pretty much a 2 kilo weight saving. So 4 kilos over the front end for a front wheel drive car, it's a good amount of weight. So we'll get these ones mounted. Now with this bracket that comes in the kit, you'll notice the bolt holes are actually slightly offset. So the offset is, this was a tip by the guy that I bought them off, that the offset helps line up the caliper, puts the caliper right smack bang in the middle of the disc. So where the cutout, that needs to mount that way, like that. That's the way they need to go on. So when you're doing these up, it's always good just to put a little bit of Loctite, just because these bolts, they don't run any washers or anything like that, and because they're bolted in from the inside of your disc, you're not going to actually see, you know, if they've come loose or anything like that until they start to hit on the discs or anything like that. So it's always a good practice just to, with any sort of brake stuff, it's always good to put a bit of Loctite on it if I can get some out of this bottle, which is nearly empty. And we'll put some blue Loctite because we're out of our red stuff. Okay, so like I said, these mount on the inside like this. So you just move your brake line out of the way. Now this being a reasonably, like, the quality of the kit, I can't sort of fault it. Obviously it'll be in the driving and that sort of side of things, but the calipers, we'll have a good look at the caliper in a second before I put it on. So we'll just lock up these. Now you seem to be able to put a fair bit of power into locking these up. So I like stuff pretty tight, and generally when it's alloy, you got to be a little bit more forgiving, but this seems to be able to actually handle a fair bit of force in it. So what we'll do, we'll have a close look at the caliper. So obviously with your caliper, you're going to mount it with your bleed nipples upright. You've got different size pistons. So you've got a smaller piston on the back side here, and a larger one at the front, and same on the other side as well. Well, the paint looks really good quality on them. These, I think the guy said he's done around about 1,000 Ks in them. He said he did get a little bit of squealing with them, but we'll see how they go. Sometimes you get a lot of squealing, it's actually your disc, it's not the pads or the caliper or anything like that. So yeah, so you got your caliper, this part here removes, slides out, so you can put your brake pads in. Yeah, like I said, they're quite a nice quality item. Like I said, this your bleeding brake line just mounts up into the same hole and everything like that. It's got twin bleed nipples on the top. When you bleed these, you've got to bleed the inside one first before you bleed the outside one, and away you go. So what we'll do is we'll throw the disc back on now, and then we can, we have to do also, we just got to manipulate the brake dust shield. If you've got your hubs off, probably get rid of it and don't even run them, but no one wants to pull their hubs off if they don't have to. So if you're doing wheel bearings or something like that at the same time, it's probably a good thing to do. So throw that on. I might have to go have a look, see what's one of the screws sort of mushed itself out a little bit, so I might go see if I've got a spare screw before we put this back together. Now I've had a look around everywhere, I can't find any. I'll have to might order a couple of spare ones. I did have some somewhere, but I don't know where I've put them, so we'll just put them back on for now. We just won't do them up super tight. All they do is just center the disc so it doesn't flop around while you're trying to put the brakes on and stuff like that. So what we'll do, we'll throw our caliper on now. Okay, so now this is where you'll see the backing plate will sort of interfere with the caliper a fair bit, so you just need to bend them back as far as you can, sort of out of the way, so you can get it lined up. They take quite a bit of persuading to move them. Okay, so got that down. We'll just tighten them up. Like I said, you can seem to hang on these a fair bit. They're not overly weak threads, but I think if you were sort of put them on and off all the time, you'd probably come into sort of some trouble with them. Yeah, so we'll just throw our brake line back into the back. Now that's pretty much the caliper fitted up. It's a pretty easy job to do. Obviously give it a bit of a clean around the back here where you've had brake fluid running. What I've sort of found on this, like the bottom one, you can get the dust shield a fair way away where it's not going to actually hit on anything. I'll just put a little bit more light in there so we can see what I'm looking at. So the dust shield there, like I said, as long as it's not hitting on the caliper, you're fine. But what I've noticed on the top one, sits very close to this brake line. It's probably not going to be an issue. Obviously the more we can sort of bend that dust shield away from it, the better. That's the only thing I sort of found as a bit of a downside. You can see how close it is there, so obviously going to rub on. Yeah, if we move it back a little bit further, like where I've bent it a fair way back there, it's not going to hit on anything. It's not actually going to rub on the caliper. It is pretty close. Like, I don't know if I might get fussy and might actually just trim that part off. Like, it's no sort of real issue to trim that sort of piece off. Yeah, like I'm sort of a bit fussy. I don't want it rubbing on the caliper and taking the paint off it either, sort of thing. So I like to keep them as good as I can. So what we'll do, we'll throw the pads in. Like I said, it just undo this bolt that runs through here. Just wind that out. So what that does, it's like it sits on a sleeve. So you pull that out. It's a bit hard to see. Now that bolt actually comes out. There's a sleeve in there which lifts out, and that's what your anti-rattle shim sits on. So the pads that they come supplied with are Ferrodo pad. They're like a racing style pad. There's a fair few choices that you can get for this, which is good. So you're not sort of limited to running one particular style of pads, which I think is a pretty good thing. I know Hawk sells them as well, so we might just have to push that piston just back a little bit so we can get that pad in. Okay, so that's our pad sitting in there. So you need to just sit your anti-rattle shim back on. There's like two little holes for it just to sit in there. And sit your sleeve back in. I might just give that a bit of a clean. Okay, so that's how it just sits just underneath that sleeve there. It was a bit hard to do it one-handed. I just sort of put the camera down for a sec, and yeah, like I said, that's the kit virtually done. Now just tighten that up, make sure everything spins freely and fine. What you need to check is make sure that obviously the center of your caliper is lining up with the center of your disc. So you can see where it's coming in through the middle of the disc there. If you've got that bracket on around the wrong way, it'll obviously push the caliper further that way or further into the car, which is allows you to sort of see that you've got it sort of around the wrong way. So that's it. That's pretty much your install done. Now what we're going to do is, for those at home, if you're wondering whether it fits your car or not, so I thought I'd give you some measurements on what's going to clear your wheels and what's not. Now my wheels, which I've got those black Procast, which you can see down there, which are the ones that are currently on the car, they don't fit. They probably need at least a good 10mm spacer to clear, because these sit out a fair way. Like you can see, there's your wheel stud there. So what I'll do is we'll measure basically from the face of the disc So at the lower point, which is just down there, basically where the pad stops rubbing on the disc. If we measure from there out to the edge of the wheel, sorry, to the edge of the caliper. So if we have a look on there, you really need to have, I'd say, 60 mil of clearance to your wheel from there. So that's bang on, right on there, 60 mil. So then basically you need to measure the back of your wheels. But if you walk out to your car, stick a ruler straight in through one of the spokes on your rims, measure out 60 mil at the lowest point, which is closer to your hubs, but not right in here like this. Measure it just like I said, to where it runs on the edge of the disc, where it stops actually where the rusty part is of your disc. And if you've got 60 mil of clearance from there, you'll be fine and they'll fit. My work wheels, they clear fine without any spaces, but obviously you need to measure, and if it looks fairly close, you might need to run a 5 mil spacer or a 10 mil spacer. I don't really like running spacers, especially on a track car. I'd rather just have it straight on the hub. So I think you're better off getting wheels that actually fit. Now I just sort of show you the clearance on my other wheels. So you can see here it's got around about, if we measure there, it's probably around about a 5 to 6 mil gap in between the wheel. You don't want anything that's like basically almost touching the rim, because if you get a bit of flex when you're cornering and stuff like that, it'll actually grind on the wheel. So you can see on mine, I can see if I can get the GoPro right in there, got a fair bit of gap in between the wheels. So anyway, so that sort of shows you how much clearance we've got. Now that's our brake kit all done. If you're going to do this brake upgrade, I know you can buy these calipers from Freaky Parts in the UK. You can actually get whatever you want put on the front of them. This looks like it's just a sticker to me, which I don't know how long that'll last for. Once I start racing, it'll probably just fall off. If you're going to do them, upgrade to braided lines. It's not really worth running with the stock rubber lines, because what you're chasing is pad feel. That's what I like in a car, like something's got a really hard pedal, and this obviously is going to have a way more amount of bite than what the factory single piston caliper does. Yeah, so if you're going to do that, like I said, offset's going to be your killer with wheels. Like I said, my black rims are a 40 offset, they don't fit. My work wheels are a 42 offset and they fit fine, they've got heaps of clearance. So it's just down to what type of spokes are on your rims. So like I said, you measure from there, and that'll hopefully help you decide whether you want to buy one of these kits or not. I've got to bleed them obviously, and when, like I said before, when you bleed them, you've got to bleed the inside bleed nipple first, and then bleed the outside one last. So that way you clear all the fluid from there, and then you suck all the good fluid from the other side all the way through to this side as well. So it gives you nice fresh fluid, and make sure it's on both sides of the caliper. Yeah, and that's about it. So I'm not going to take it for a drive because I haven't got time today. I'm already getting called in to take the kids for a bath and stuff. And what I've got coming later this week, while it's all jacked up, I've got a Flow design, which is an Australian made lower front spoiler. Lower front spoiler for it. It's like a little splitter that runs all the way across. It's supposed to be super heavy duty, you can bash them and stuff like that. Now I've got that coming, it says it's on its way. So I'm not going to do a test drive. What I'll do is I'll get the splitter on, and I'm also going to do some homemade engine mounts, where I'm going to show you how to solid up your engine mounts for quite cheap, just using Sikaflex. This stuff works really well. I've used it on a bunch of race cars before. If you're basically after something that's pretty similar to like a polyurethane mount, that's what they're good for. And I've run them on a race car for a couple of years and never ever had an issue with them, and it costs you $35 to buy a tube of that, rather than spending like $600 for a set of polyurethane mounts. So yeah, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Give us a like if this video helps you. I hope it helps you buy some calipers. They're cheap, and like I said, I'll continue to update on my experience with them over the next sort of year or so, see if I run into any issues with them or something like that. Once the splitter's on, I'll take it for a drive, do another video, and I'll talk about the brakes and see what the feel's like with them then. So yeah, so subscribe to the channel for updates to see what's happening next, and we'll go from there. So thanks heaps for watching. No worries, I'll see you later. Bye.